And it seems that in terms of marketing, obviously a lot of the products that I've shown are very desirable. They have a lot of novelty to them. I mean, I'm interested in, carrier. I have a whole collection of, carrier bags and postcards and the rest of it that I think are interesting as objects. But in terms of how they operate within the system, they become more problematic as time goes on. Because I think there is a difference between an artist-led project and an institutionally commissioned project, like for example the Julian Oakley fridge magnets. I mean, something really bothered me about those because of the way that they were mass-produced by the institution, and it wasn't part of the Tate's merchandising, or it is part of the Tate's merchandising.
They're quite often sort of the kinds of objects that are produced. What sort of interests me is that they're quite often your archetypal sort of useless luxuries, with the exception perhaps of shopping bags. I had a thought about this as well in terms of going back to conceptual art. I thought of I think it's a Brazilian artist called Cildo Moraes, who made a Coke bottle. He started producing his own Coke bottles on which he inscribed messages, messages that were either oppositional to the American government or American culture in general. Do you see any possibilities for artists to actually sort of, since now these ostensibly artworks that take on the commodity form, sort of are in circulation, is there any possibility to somehow infect them with other agendas or oppositional agendas?
I could imagine an artist making their own work and then trying to insert it within the system, but I can't imagine work that is commissioned operating in that way. Largely because it is commissioned and it is scrutinised all the way through the production process. So it's monitored. So I can't really see that will be possible. I mean, obviously there's always going to be possibilities in scope and space for artists to make their own little interventions. I mean, I had some students at St. George and Martin's who were kind of going into Topshop and actually leaving items in the shop, leaving the t-shirt on the shelf, making those kind of little interventions rather than kind of consuming it and putting their own products in there. And that's always going to be possible, but not on the scale and not with the endorsement that we see here. But then the benefit of that might be that they are more free, they're more political in the sense that they are able to exercise their own sort of autonomy.
I wanted to ask whether you see a way out or a way forward, I think it depends on the kind of artist that you are, in a return to a modernist claim to autonomy for art practice, or an engagement in some other agenda or issue which is external to art itself, but not necessarily one which is dictated by powerful corporations or government cultural policies. So is it a return to a rather romantic notion of artistic freedom? Maybe. And your reactions to the current situation are something I've heard expressed by a number of critics and artists recently. And I'm just interested to know which you think is the way forward for your practice.
Well, for my practice, it gets more difficult to try and find a position really, because I think the way that I've operated in the past, I've had so many different identities, if you like. So I've been artist, curator, writer, it's been this kind of juggling act as a way of trying to maintain a practice or maintain some sort of impetus. So So when one's not working, you move on to the next one and you keep constantly changing. But obviously, that uses up a lot of energy, and it can, you know, after sort of 10 or 15 years of doing that, can be quite exhausting. So I'm kind of looking to other things, I think, maybe outside of the realm of art. And so I'm more interested in ideas around social entrepreneurship, but maybe because there seems to be a more readily available relationship between creating and commerce that doesn't seem so problematic as the luxury item of art. I do think that there is a lot of potential for artists to be less, this is going to sound terrible, but less passive, in the sense that waiting for, you know, a dealer or that show to come up that's going to change everything. And I think artists could be a lot more self-initiating. I mean, obviously there's hundreds of artist-led spaces in London and around the country where artists are getting up off their arses and they're just getting on with it. But I think the problem is that there's this sense of the artist-led space or the independent space, which is run by artists usually in the first couple of years of leaving university, and then they'll get then taken up and then taken out of that space. So this kind of network of spaces is often depleted. You know, it's not got a long life cycle because artists are then going to move on. But I think if artists had a more longer-term view, and maybe were thinking more pragmatically, I think is the word. I suppose the thing is that, you know, if you're looking at a long-term practice, I mean, I've been funded by the Arts Council and I've gone through a period of just self-funding because I don't want to go through the hassle of funding through the Arts Council or being reliant on that kind of money or the strings that are often attached to it. So I'm just thinking about other alternatives. And I mean things like, I mean, what if artists set up their own credit unions? You know, what if they all pooled money and resources in an organised kind of way? Or what if they set up their own websites that ran similar to eBay, where they promoted their own work and sold their own work and were not waiting for some gallery to do it? I mean, you don't really see, you know, I'm talking about a kind of economic shift in the way that artists think about their practices in a more organised way, in a more long-term way. Because the artists are individualists, you know, I suppose it goes with the territory, but I think we need to have other plans, you know, in hand. There was a thing on the TV about some guy who was selling his lyrics on eBay, you know, like per line and having people bid on them. But obviously, you know, there's a gimmickry aspect to that. But yeah, you could use eBay. Yeah, I know that, I mean, you've dabbled.
I've dabbled in eBay.
But you've dabbled in you've looked at the American eBay.
What I noticed was that just the English eBay, the UK eBay, in terms of art, was very, very underdeveloped. Whereas, and you can judge it by the sort of prices, because you know, eBay, you can kind of categorize things in different ways. The American eBay was very highly developed, and you know, they were obviously a much bigger market. For some reason, I don't know why it is, but I think you're right. It's to do with perhaps it's a whole entrepreneurial thing. After all, we're talking about becoming a social entrepreneur. Perhaps in England we're too dependent on state funding, state handouts, and so